50 firefighters have been here tackling this moorland blaze, which started at around 7 o'clock last night.
Sadly, around 2 square miles of land has been affected by this fire, and it's something which will take years to recover. And this incident shows the devastating impact that moorland fires can have.
This fire's burnt 3 days and it could have been avoided. 8 years of work gone just like that, just through bad fire management. Fire crews were on the National Trust side where it had started. So we thought, right, we'll get a bit of a plan together, we'll try and save as much as we can, burning towards ourselves. So we headed to where the fire had started to get back of the fire so we could work to the front. And we thought, we'll take this back burn out and catch the front up. So as we started, we noticed the fire crews were pulling off, and we were later told that they're not allowed to work at night because of health and safety reasons. So a little bit frustrating, we were there on our own, but we thought we can't give up here because we're going to lose a lot of ground ourselves if it comes through. So before 9 o'clock we'd had 8 farming friends and probably 6 to 7 gamekeeping friends from local that brought their own equipment, auger carts and water jetters and quite a lot of leaf blowers. So between us all we had our own little plan of how we'd attack it, and I think we just set on 9 o'clock straight through, never stopped. We knocked out one line that would be 1,000 metres straight. We knocked it all out, put every naked flame out on the night, and then we went back to the National Trust side again and knocked the other 500 metres out on the far side that were back burning, that could have took a bigger chunk out. So we then hovered around for another hour, and we probably left the moor at 2:30 to 3 o'clock with no naked flame burning on the top, just a few burning into bare peat. So for next morning, first thing we did, we come back with all the water bowsers and all the water equipment. Firefighters, they was back on the scene but monitoring from the road edge. They had an auger cat, the water system they had failed on them. So dinner time-ish on Monday, we was up here, we put all our smokers out, we'd really gone to town with wetting them down. And we left the National Trust with it on their side. They had a couple smokers to keep an eye on, and the fire brigade were with them. So we had to just literally pop out and check some sheep that were lambing, and then half an hour later we looked back and the National Trust side were back in flames. So we quick phone call out to all the local staff again, and we shot back up, but the wind had changed at this point as it got going back on the National Trust side. And it had gone to a direct north wind which pushed it straight back onto ours, and it was burning to a considerable amount of millennia ground. So we had to get straight back up here. Fire crews and mountain rescue were joining us. Local gamekeepers, there'd be another 8 or 9 different estates sent lads and equipment, and we'd then extinguish the fire for, say, it'd be 7 PM that night. We'd got all the naked flame out again. So then we stayed around till, I don't know, a couple hours into the night, and we were happy on our side how things were left. Following morning, which would be Tuesday morning, the fire had re-lit itself on the National Trust ground due to some smokers that had got going again. So they'd had a slight wind change back to the southwest. That then blew it across a clough into a monster patch of millennia grass that would be waist deep, and it was literally back burning through the millennia grass all morning of Tuesday till 3 PM, and it had literally run out of ground to burn, and this were back burning millennia. With the wind, it was burning into the wind. It was just, they couldn't stop it. There were just not enough bodies to try and get it out. So that then ran out of steam around 3 PM, and thankfully then we had heavy rain 4 PM till I'd say 8 PM, and that has thankfully wiped every smoker out that were here, and that's been saving grace to getting it out, or else it'd be still going today, to be honest with you. So in terms of what we've lost on our home ground, we've 120 to 130 acres completely scorched. This area had been reseeded with a heath scrub mixture to try and encourage the curlews and some lapwings and some rare wading birds back. So we've lost all that. That's 4 years of effort gone. We've lost a few of the plastic piles that have been burnt out. So we're back to square one, 30 or 40,000 pound invested through natural inland assistance and so on. We've lost that. We'll have to start again and be another 3 to 4 years before we're back to where we already was. So we've 8 years of work gone just like that, just through bad fire management plans and leaving too much Molinia grass on the neighbouring areas that is impossible to get out when it starts. Dry conditions, you just can't extinguish it properly, and we need better management next door to save our own ground at the moment. We're struggling, having to bring our own staff in to keep our own ground safe. How long is it before this ground's unsafe again? It's going to be like 18 months, it's going to grow back vigorous Molinia if it's not treated, and we're going to be in the same situation where on the neighbouring moor it's going to be tough, thick, white grass that's unmanaged, and it's going to be another fire risk, because we're not going to stop antisocial behaviour, people starting fires. We need a better plan in place to have areas where we can stop the fire when it happens. I do not for 1 minute believe we're going to stop seeing these fires, because we just cannot stop this antisocial behaviour. We can't stop people that don't care about the law. You put a sign up for no barbecue and they think, well, I'm not going to listen to that. They'll go on because of the sign they're saying not to do. We aren't going to stop people that are with no regards to setting fires. We need a better plan in place to, when it happens, which I know it will, there'll be more, to tackle it better and get it out and have a break in this big chunks of Molinia grass, because we just cannot deal with it. It'll burn miles on that grass. It needs a better plan in place where it's broken with a different method so we can tackle it quicker and get it out faster.
Welcome to Moor. I'm Jeff Eyre. I started in moorland work 50 some years ago. It's been sort of an obsession to me all my life, and we now keep seeing all these wildfires popping up around the Peak District. I was brought up to study crop growing, and I don't look at the moors any different from any other crop. If you can grow, I've found that you can grow most species on a moor. The soil grows things. If you balance the soil up, you can grow crowberries, bilberries, heathers, tormentil, you can grow cotton grass. You can make the moor more biodiverse using agricultural methods. The problem is, it seems to be frowned on that agriculture shouldn't be involved in moorland management. It seems as though it's something like a unique place. Uplands are. They're ecologically sound, yeah, you can farm them, and that's the future really, to farm these uplands, to make them look nice, but also be safe against huge wildfires that are inevitable, in my opinion, at the moment. It happened in my time, in the late 70s, 80s, that moorland was being, at one stage, overgrazed, and they said overburnt, and heather was disappearing at a phenomenal rate. And the conservationists decided that we've got to burn at least 10% of the moorland every year to control wildfire spread. So the ESA came out in the late 80s, and the Peak District was all went on board with it, and we were trying to increase heather growth and reduce wildfires. That went on for a fair few years, and we were getting on top of the problem, and then in the 2000 out came the biodiversity action plan, wanting to see more diverse habitats rather than monocultures, and I got involved 30 years ago in looking into these monocultures, and we have monocultures on a moor. This is one of the worst products you could have on a moor for wildfire, getting away on you very fast. It's called Molinia grass, and Molinia grass is a deciduous grass. It dies off in the autumn and winter, and it doesn't green up at all till mid-June round here. So all that time it's very, very volatile. But because you burn it, the one thing that Molinia likes is fire. It recovers really well from fire. The seeds off the plant germinate ever so well off fire. So if you've got a monoculture of Molinia, you've got to reduce it so that you don't get the whole lot on fire. And it's practically possible to put fire breaks in by changing the Molinia, which I've done on some places, from Molinia grass to green sheep's fescue, say, or a red fescue. So you've got patches of a different grass that doesn't burn as well. You could put it back to heathers, you could put it back to some wetter areas, but you've got to control the Molinia, and it's agriculturally possible to get rid of Molinia. It's not a grass that you can't get rid of. And it's become a monoculture, carries very little wildlife in my opinion, and it's, as we've seen lately, it's a very, very volatile plant. The other plant which at this time of the year will burn and take some putting out is dead bracken. It gives off that cyanide gas actually. It's a nasty plant when it burns. So over the years with farming, they've created huge areas of bracken, huge areas of Molinia, and I got involved into looking into trying to make the Moor through management from politics and new conservationists saying that they wanted more biodiversity on the moors. So I worked at it, and I managed to reduce the Molinia and grow other species. I've grown bilberry, crowberry, heathers that are less volatile, that we can control from burning. The other one, which is a new one, which has come out this last few years, is growing sphagnum, which is there's nothing wrong with sphagnum, but it needs water to grow, and you can't grow it on dry land. So, but when it does dry out, like it has done this last few weeks, it's probably one of the most volatile plants on the moor. This was all bracken and Molinia and nardus, and I put it into a more biodiverse mix to try and reduce the risk of wildfires. And the other thing I've been doing over the years is to just pasture top the heather, so we don't get heather that's very, very tall. And anybody that understands wildfires, short heather is easier to put out than Molinia or bracken. So if you can keep the heather low and short, you won't get the flame length and you won't get the intensity of the fire. But I've seen in my lifetime, this last 30 years, how policy keeps changing. And to be fair, I've never seen as much burnable material as we've got at the moment in the Peak District. With being an agronomist and agricultural merchant, I know all the farmers and the moorland owners, and as I drive past certain moors that I remember would not burn, were being grazed by sheep and cattle and managed in a different way, they all look like they could get on fire very quickly. There's huge areas, and it's okay, ban barbecues, ban fire, but if the fuel load is there, it's like sitting on a carpet full of petrol. It only needs a spark to set the whole lot going. There needs to be a mix between ecology and agriculture, and at the moment we seem to have been like a monoculture of Molinia, monoculture of all these burnable materials. We've seemed to go like a mono of one group of people that want to see how it ought, but they never really explain what they want to see. So it leaves me in a bit of a dilemma, because they don't want heather now. Now, I could take this out and I could grow a crop of oats on it. My neighbour's growing quality grass there. I could grow an arable crop on here. It's just an agricultural operation. Yeah, we seem to, as though it's sort of some mystique that moorland is moorland, but it can't be something else, but it can. You go to Scotland, they're growing potatoes on moorland.
But it's better as moorland?
Well,
for biodiversity?
Yeah, we've got one of the highest numbers of curlew. You haven't heard them now, but they are here. And we've got skylarks, we've got lapwing. There's few grouse, because we don't shoot grouse on this moor. So I'm having to fund that side of it. whereas the grouse shooting and managing moors helps pay to manage that moor. You know, so I just manage it because I enjoy managing it.